Here in the Valley, hundreds gather for a ceremony at the National Memorial Cemetery, and we're going to have some of that for you as well. Plus, what goes on in somebody's brain when they try to fight a police officer and then reach for his gun? Well, it's just happened again, and our Danielle Miller has a report for us on that. But let's get to this story with the wild video. Look at that, like nether earth kind of view right there. These are the images that just came in yesterday, really from overnight, from Hawaii with the Kilauea volcano. And that's the one right there that to me seems to be as explosive as anything we have ever seen coming out of Kilauea. The activity started around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and the eruptions were absolutely massive. They said that this violent explosion here, as the lava plume hit close to 1,000 feet, ran from 4 in the afternoon until about 9:45 last night. So we are told that at one point the plume reached at least 5,000 feet with ash and volcanic rock and volcanic glass shards. They actually had to issue a warning to people because it's those volcanic fragments that can be really hazardous, especially when they get picked up by the wind. So it's almost like miniature little glass type fragments that really prompt them to warn both visitors, tourists, a lot of people from right here in Arizona go over to Hawaii, as well as residents living anywhere on the Big Island. So we're going to keep an eye on that as the day goes on. We're also, of course, going to be talking about Memorial Day 2025. President Trump delivering remarks at Arlington's National Cemetery, actually just wrapping up in the last little while. You'll hear some of what he had to say, as well, of course, as the traditional laying of the wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. So we're going to go to that for you right now.
We gather today to honor the incredible service members who rest in glory in this cemetery and burial grounds around the world and in 1,000 lonely places known only to God. In every hour of peril, in every moment of crisis, American warriors have left behind the blessings of home and family to answer their nation's call. They've offered all that they had within them and given their last breaths to each and every one of us that we might live safe and breathe free. This morning we pay tribute to their immortal deeds. We share in the sorrow of their beloved families, and as one nation we give thanks for the ultimate gift they have so selflessly given to all of us. These warriors, and that's what they are, as great, great warriors, picked up their mantle of duty and service, knowing that to live for others meant always that they might die for others. They knew that. They asked nothing for it. They gave everything, and we owe them everything and much, much more.
We did have a chance just to listen to the president, and it was actually, I thought, one of his best speeches he's given here during this second term. And that all happened at the Arlington National Cemetery. In the meantime, at almost the exact same time, we had a ceremony underway locally, and former county attorney Rick Romley was the guest speaker today. We're going to take you to that right now.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
You know, as we come together on this Memorial Day, I believe it is important that we take a moment and remember that throughout our nation's history, our country has called upon America's finest to defend the ideals we cherish so deeply. They come from all walks of life. They are fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters. These men and women who serve in our armed forces have backgrounds as diverse as the nation we serve. And as diverse as they may be, they are united by a common courage and a common dedication that has driven them to answer the call to protect their nation and the liberty of their fellow citizens. They are united by their love for their country, their belief in freedom, and their faith in America's future. It is therefore fitting on this Memorial Day and all Memorial Days to remember and honor those who have given their lives in defense of our nation.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
So Celeste joins as well. And Celeste, I know you've been out there to the National Memorial Cemetery. It is just such a beautiful, peaceful place. You just feel it the moment you drive onto the grounds.
You do. It's absolutely beautiful. And I think there's something about seeing all those flags out as well. It just gives you this grateful and warm feeling about where our nation stands and the men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice. It's a really important day.
One more remark here. I'll just read it to you in terms of as the President of the United States was wrapping up his remarks here at Arlington. He said, "In any corner of the cemetery, at any resting place for our war dead, anywhere on earth, you'll find untold stories of equal heroism and heartbreak, unmatched patriotism and devotion, and acts of selflessness and courage so enormous they defy comprehension." When you really stop and think about it, that's just so true.
It is absolutely true, for sure.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Okay, we will continue our coverage as the day goes on Fox 10. But we also, I just thought, we talk about all the time the dangers that our men and women who are out there trying to protect our community, both police and firefighters, what they go through. If you have not seen this video yet, going to share it with you right now. It's from Tucson. Firefighters are approaching where there's a fire at an abandoned gas station. And the roof, they have these big canopied roofs over the gas pumps. This is a kind of a decrepit old building. But watch what happens as it suddenly collapses.
Oh my goodness! Do you see that young man? I don't know if he was with the fire department. Look at it. Look again. Oh, he is.
Stumbles trying to get out of the way.
Oh yeah, he just wasn't in his turnouts.
Totally understandable, right?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so they say that some firefighters were actually up on the roof line when it gave way, but they managed to escape without any injuries. So that part of the story is really, I think, pretty incredible. But here's the thing. The fire department's been looking into it. It happened just this weekend. They're in Tucson. and they say the fire was caused by, quote, homeless activity. So it's not clear exactly what that means, but it's possible that you had some people that were either camping out or squatting on that land or right there, and then the fire begins. Firefighters get on the scene, and you know what? I can so relate to that one firefighter. He wasn't in his turnouts. He didn't have the protection of some of the others, and he's stumbling as he's trying to get out of the way. So, again, the story ends with nobody seriously hurt.
Thank
But
goodness.
boy,
Wow.
What a story, right?
I think it gives you an idea of the situations that our firefighters and even our police officers, when they approach a situation or a scene, you never know what they're walking up in on.
That's a good point.
I'm sure a lot of you on YouTube and in the chat, let us know if you've seen these, but Axon, which are the owner of the body cameras, right? Mm-hmm. For police officers, they put on, they release the video actually to police departments. And on YouTube, sometimes we'll watch like police officers, close encounters. Like we watch some of those videos on YouTube.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
There are certain channels where you can find all that?
Yes.
Yeah, not that we advise you to tune away just yet.
Not until we're off the air.
Because you want to see what we've got coming up. As a matter of fact, speaking of this very situation, Celeste, who tries, a police officer tries to pull you over? Who tries to get into a fight with an armed police officer and then in the middle of the whole situation goes for the gun?
That is crazy.
It is unbelievable.
When I was reading about that story, it's nuts. And it makes you think these officers, and just like the firefighters that we just showed, they approach these scenes not knowing what is going to happen and what's next. It's crazy.
And the whole story is coming up after this break. And we welcome you back. Here is our mystery cam. We didn't have much of a chance to show it to you guys before we hit the break, but let's just take a look. Sometimes I wish we could zoom in. They do have an Aspen Dental. They got a Home Depot. Oh, wait, no, Hobby Lobby.
Is that a lens? What does that say? I thought it
there
said
a
lens crafters.
Is there a lens crafter? This could be any one of about 1,800 towns in America.
All I know is they got a Walgreens down in the
they
bottom,
do.
and they've got green grass. So I'm going to go like Kentucky.
Well, it's really windy, and I'm trying to think, where is it super windy like that? And I'm going to go Indiana. So, Celeste, let's do it.
So
What do you
we have a few people saying Oklahoma.
Okay.
Keisha M. Jones said Oklahoma.
Okay.
We have a few people going PNW. Oh, no. This is Isabella asking somebody because it sounds like we got some people here. We got some new friends in the chat.
Oh, I love it.
This morning, Mario Hernandez is Oregon. Lil Philosophy says, South Dakota. And let's see. Yeah, Husky Mom says Oklahoma. I'm going to go Kentucky just for fun. What
And
about
I'm
you, Ron?
Indiana. I'm
Indiana.
Indiana.
Oh, I
Here
love
comes your
Indiana.
answer. Yes, indeed.
Oh,
What do we
New
got here?
Iberia, Louisiana.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, there's
New
Louisiana
Iberia.
one more time.
I wonder if there's a lot of Portuguese who live in New Iberia.
Oh, wow.
Because the
With that
Iberian-
Iberian connection, Celeste, you've got the geography brain just like I do.
Yeah. I mean, well, no, not quite, but I'm working on it, Ron.
On we go to this next story. Unbelievable. But boy, Danielle Miller put a great report together for us with an officer and the man he shot, both taken to the hospital after a traffic stop suddenly takes a very bad turn. We've got that story for you right here from Danielle.
Well, the shooting remains under investigation at this time. Still unclear as to exactly what led up to the shooting initially, but we do know that it all started yesterday afternoon near 24th Street and Cactus Road. Police say just after 2:30 p.m., an officer attempted to make a traffic stop. It is still not clear at this time why the officer was trying to pull the driver over, but we're told the driver immediately got out of his vehicle before the officer could even get out of his patrol vehicle, and the driver began to argue with that officer. That led to a physical fight. A witness even tried to help the officer during the fight by trying to pull the driver away, and as the fight continued, the driver then tried to grab the officer's gun from his holster. The officer unholstered his weapon and fired one shot. The suspect was shot in the lower extremity. His injuries are considered to be non-life-threatening.
Our detectives are out here. They're going to do their absolute best at conducting this investigation. And if it requires staying out here for multiple hours to get this right, then that's what we're going to do.
The officer was taken to the hospital for injuries he received during the fight. He was treated and later released. And police say that once the suspect is out of the hospital, he will be booked into jail at this time and still unsure as to exactly what charges he will be facing. We'll send it back to you guys.
So we are just going to keep track of that story as well because it took that unbelievable twist. And I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say about it, Celeste, except what goes through people's minds.
Oh, it's
what
crazy.
Goes through their brains.
It's crazy. I just think sometimes people are, at least from some of the videos and including this, that when you look at the body camera footage, you think people are going through some hard times.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Stress,
Okay.
money
But,
issues.
I'm sorry, where's mom and dad? Don't you when you're teaching your 16-year-old how to drive?
Oh gosh, I'm doing that right now with my son.
Respect for the officer?
Oh my goodness.
I didn't like the first time I got pulled over, but guess what?
You did what you're told.
I just put my blinker on and pulled right over.
Yeah, exactly.
I was doing 62 and a 55. It still bothers me.
Ron.
I did get a ticket.
Oh my God. I hope
the guy
you paid
didn't
it.
cut me any slack.
Did you pay it?
Because
if not, a warrant's out for your arrest. You know that,
yeah,
right?
Well, no. I mean, I beat that rap, but anyway. All right, Celeste. Graduating from high school.
Yes.
Oh, do you want to hold up? Let's.
Yes. So
Kiana graduated this weekend, right?
Yes. So I was off on Friday, Ron. I missed all of you.
Okay,
This
here we go.
is. Oh, are we doing this one?
Yeah.
So this is Kiana. We got one of those fat heads made of her, like a baby head.
Oh, you did?
And I'll try to
Look.
make it a little bigger. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
I don't know
hard
if you
for
guys
all
can
of you
zoom
at
in
home.
on that or
Oh, here
not,
comes Big.
you know,
Here
with
comes
the-
Big D. Dave's
Okay.
coming over to
All
try
right,
to. Thank
here we
you,
go.
Dave.
Yeah.
So she graduated on Thursday.
Oh, look at this. Here we
And,
go.
there she is. Oh my gosh, my blondie with green eyes. We're going to try to focus so you can see. But congratulations to all the graduates. Someone asked, "Did you cry when she graduated?" And I said, "No, I didn't. I didn't cry because it's kind of fuzzy. But anyways, we did our best."
Ooh, that was a good zoom out, though. Extra
Thank
pay
you,
for Dave.
But I didn't cry as much because I've been crying for months.
Oh, Celeste.
Because I'm just thinking, oh my goodness. I mean, that's our job, right, as parents, to teach our kids to kind of like, okay, baby bird,
I know.
time to go fly.
I
You
know.
can do this.
Well, I will just tell you, it only gets harder
Oh, geez. Thanks, Ron.
when you drop them off at college.
Oh, that
I mean, you have her
is-
all summer.
Well,
But,
I've
you
been
know.
crying like at little moments at different things, and
Yes.
Gary will look at me and he's like, "Are you kidding me? Are you
Really?
crying?"
Right?
I'm like,
He's
"Honey."
like, I'm trying to watch like the NBA here. Why are you sitting next to me
I'm
crying?
like, I didn't bring up the part. I didn't bring up the part that your eyes were watering at her high school graduation.
Now, here's why we're talking about it. There is a kind of a trend right now that you may have seen kind of bubbling up the last few days on the internet, which is, what advice would you give to your high school self? I love this topic. I've been thinking about it. Here are just up and down Reddit. Here are a few comments, Celeste, that I came up with.
Okay.
And oh, by the way, everybody, we are going to go to Isabella. Stand by in just a moment. But what advice would you give to your high school self? It's okay not to know who you are yet. Chill. Awkward is temporary. How about that one?
And sometimes awkward can be fun.
Yeah, I like this one. Instead of spending all your money, you know, everybody's got jobs in high school, right? You're working at fast food or whatever.
Target.
Was that your first job?
No, my first job was at the city of Tempe at a swimming pool. But
Oh, nice.
but my cousin worked at Target. I mean, there's all kinds of jobs you can,
Good.
take part in, make some
Well,
money.
I don't know if I want your cousin's story or your story as the lifeguard. But here's another one. Instead of spending all that money, invest it. That's a good
yeah.
one. How about this, Celeste? I'm going to read it to you both ways, and then you give me your feedback.
Okay.
Okay. Don't stay with him when you leave for college. There'll be so many more interesting and better men awaiting you at college. Yes or no?
Yes, there are.
Okay. Now,
More fish in this. There's lots of fish in the sea.
okay, let me switch it around the other way and see if it hits you the same.
Yes.
Don't stay with her when you leave for college. There'll be so many more interesting women waiting for you there.
True.
Okay, so either way, it's
Either
fine.
way, it's
Okay,
fine, yeah.
Good. Here's another one I saw. When you break up with Shelly, don't try to take her back. Just move on.
Oh yeah, yeah. If it's not going to work out, or you know what, maybe at some point you and Shelly will grow up a little bit.
Yes.
And you'll reconnect later in life.
Circle back around to
Yes,
Shelley.
maybe.
Anything that either you're seeing in the chat or I'll tell you what, check out the chat if anybody
Yes.
has advice, but let's go to Isabella
Hi.
right now. You know, she was reminding me she only graduated from high school like 6 years ago.
I know, she amazing.
So her memories are going to be a little sharper, Celeste, than yours or mine. Right, Isabella?
Yes, that's right. I graduated high school in 2019.
Okay. Did you go to Renton High School or where were you up in the
I
Northwest?
graduated from Hazen High School, but Renton, it was in the Renton School District.
Okay, there you go. Seems like we all have these P&W connections.
Yes.
do.
So you've thought about it. What advice would you give to your high school self?
I thought of two things when I thought about your question, Ron. And
Yeah.
my first question is, one, it's okay not to know what you want to do. And I think that's so important to tell all the graduating seniors, because there's all that pressure of, I'm 18, I'm an adult now, I need to know what to do. But I think it's important to remember that you don't need to have it all figured out, and that's okay. If you go to college, it's okay if you change your minor. If you don't want to go to college, that's okay.
I love
so
this.
I think a
Yeah.
good piece of advice for graduating seniors is it's okay if you don't know what you want to do yet. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of having this new journey, is to figure it out.
Be
And my-
flexible. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, what else?
My second piece of advice is to never forget where you came from. I know for me, I was so excited to move to Arizona and so excited to start college that you almost, or at least I kind of not forgot, but I was just like, oh, Washington's rainy and I hated Washington. But, I think it's important to remember where you came from. And no matter where you go, it's important to just remember like those high school teachers and the mentors and all the people that nurtured you up until this point in your life. So I think those are my two pieces of advice. One, to know it's okay not to have it figured out. And two, just to never forget where you came from.
Those are really good ones.
Yeah.
Really good ones.
I think about like Mr. McComas, who helped run the student newspaper as the advisor.
Okay.
He was so helpful to me. Estelle Taylor, my 6th grade teacher, is the one who started me on a newspaper collection.
Wow.
I used to write to newspapers all over the country, and I would enclose a quarter, I mean, I'm
Wait,
like 11 years
okay,
old.
hold on. You used to write to the newspaper.
And said, could you send me a copy of the day man landed on the moon? That was 1969.
Did they do
12
it?
years old. Absolutely, every single
my
time. That was super
gosh.
cool. Celeste, what about you? What are you thinking about? Either seeing in the chat or thought you want to share?
A couple of things, because some people are saying, well, Jen Swall first says, there are plenty of fish in the sea.
Thank you.
So Jen Swall
Jen, thank you.
concurs with you, my friend. The other thing is, if you have a dream, this is my thought on this. If you have a dream, you want to do something, you really want to enjoy life a certain way, you're passionate about something, don't let anybody tell you can't do it.
Right?
I think two things. One, I applied to the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism twice. The first time I was not accepted.
Really? I never knew that because now you're a professor, or you have.
I taught there for 9
there.
years.
Yes.
I don't even know if anybody there in the dean's office knows that. But then I came back, I did an internship, and I really worked hard, and then I reapplied, and then they accepted me.
Wow.
And then early in my career, I went to this anchoring workshop in D.C., and the guy looked at me straight in the face and he said, "You will never anchor a newscast."
Oh my gosh. Who's
Never.
that dude?
And I have been doing, now I've been, been here with you for what,
Right.
12 and a half years?
Has it been that long?
Do I need to remind
Why
myself?
does it feel like 15 and a half? No, I'm
But I
kidding.
think if you really want to do something and you feel like it's a part of your dream or you have a
Yeah.
passion for something, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. It may not look the same as what you initially envisioned, but it's going to be some sort of, it will look very similar.
We've got about 20 seconds left. Want to read us one comment? Anybody in the chat? By the way, I like
Yes.
this one that I also saw online. Don't change yourself.
Yes.
Trying to fit in with
Never,
the group.
never.
I love that one.
You were meant to stand out, Ron. Did you know that?
Celeste, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll look through the comments. I know we got to take a break, and then I'll read a couple of them when we come back.
And we're back after this. Ooh,
Beautiful.
look at Victoria. British Columbia, that is the provincial capital. Celeste, you wanted to jump in real quick with a couple of comments?
On advice for grads, Leo M says, your compass may go 8 different ways once you enter into the world, but the path you carve out for yourself is the only right direction. He said, my grandmother's advice at my graduation. And then also Nick Dinsmore says, life one day at a time, don't rush, play it cool, and enjoy yourself. And Isabella Fredrickson, thank you. Isabella was one of my students, Ron.
I know.
Yes, so
right?
sweet. Thank you for the sweet post in the chat.
Imagine being in Professor Rodriguez's class.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'm sure you
Fun
had
times.
a great time. Hey, so we had a lot of fun on Friday. Celeste, I want you to put your brain power to work here.
Okay.
The chat was, where's the friendliest place in the USA? Either a city or a state or whatever. And I made my recommendation, and here's how that all went down. And then we're going to chat just a little bit about it because it got so fun with the gang on Friday. You guys, I'm going to recommend North Dakota, and I'm dead
He is.
serious.
Oh, he's sorry, I thought this was
he's going back.
I still can't decide because, last year I went, and it was my 50th state.
Yeah.
And it is the friendliest state I think I've ever been in.
I
Right?
always think that those, what they call the flyover states, which I
Yes.
know might be derogatory to some, are some of the nicest people.
Oh, my
What,
God.
what does flyover state mean?
Well, like,
You
people
from
either
New
go
York
from
to LA.
And
Yeah.
you're flying.
Oh,
okay.
there's some other
Literally,
states
you're
Yeah.
flying over it. You don't
Yeah.
stop. You don't go
You
there.
don't go
you
there.
stop.
They're
My
not
wa-
like the big destination places.
My one story about that is I'm in Nebraska, which is right up there on that list of friendliness. And I'm trying to get a picture of my dad. We had gone to Washington, was playing Nebraska in a football game. And I said, oh, look, there's the state capitol. One of the most unique state capitals. It's Art Deco, and it's like 20 stories tall. And I can't quite get the picture. And I'm not kidding about this. A lady is driving down the street because I'm on one side, Dad's on the other, and she stops her car in the third lane. She didn't even park.
She didn't even get out of the
stops her car,
street.
flings open the door and says, I'll take it for you.
Oh.
Wow.
See,
Did
that's
did
what
you
I
get her
mean.
name? Do we keep in contact?
You know what? I
You
could
should
go
have.
find the picture.
You
Maybe
probably
for
could.
Monday I'll show you that
Oh,
Yes,
picture.
that'd be
okay.
hilarious.
She was, my dad's tall. He was about 6'3". I think she was about 4'2".
Oh, cute.
And then there's me in the. It was so fun.
I love that.
And as promised, there you go. So this is, I don't remember her name. Maybe I used to journal a lot more than I do now. I probably could go back and read it. But she was just the nicest lady.
Oh.
And so we actually got a fourth person involved to take a picture. I said to her, I'm like, yes, but please let us take a picture with you
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
so I
so
really
sweet.
nominate Nebraska. By the way, there's the actual photo, Celeste, that she took of Dad and me in front of that really cool Art Deco state capitol. I love that one.
We have a couple of good guesses in the chat box in terms of friendliest.
Yeah.
Nick Dinsmore says Arizona. Sherry Wolf says South Dakota. And Bo Jackson says Minnesota, hands down.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's one more picture. By the way, hold on. Let me pull up this one other photo.
What a great photo of you and Dad.
Yeah, and then we sat down for the game, and boy, what a place. That stadium's been sold out every game every year since JFK
Really?
was president.
Holy cannoli.
Those Cornhusker fans, they are true, I would say true blue, but they're true red.
Wow. I'm going to go with Indiana on the friendliest.
Really?
Yeah.
You have a story or a memory? or
Well,
what?
so we flew to, and it was just recently. I mean, I do actually think the southern states are, I agree with Linda Monterth here. Southern states are very friendly, southern hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
But we just got back from Indiana, and we were on a flight connecting from Denver to Indianapolis.
Okay.
And everybody on the plane, because we were on Southwest, they were so friendly as we were standing in line waiting to board from Denver to Indianapolis.
Oh,
they were like,
because those are all Indiana people. Mostly they're flying home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, I sat next to a woman. She's a grandmother, lives in this suburb of Indianapolis, and we talked the entire flight.
Oh, wow.
She showed me pictures of her front yard. Her grandson went to IU. He's in, it was just like it was the friendliest flight I had ever been on.
I love that.
It was so
And
great.
Celeste, we've had some of those great experiences. By the way, we are going to transition now to our next story, you guys. We're going to drop the SOT 6. I'm going to go to SOT 7 because President Trump, I think, is finally, ultimately, fed up.
Yes.
They may be friendly in Indiana, but Celeste, in Russia? Not so much.
Really? I
Well,
wouldn't have
that's-
guessed.
Well, I'm sure the Russian people are as friendly as could be.
Yeah.
But our president is so fed up. Here is a little more of what he had to say about Vladimir Putin. He's like, I'm talking to the guy. We're trying to negotiate a peace deal, and the rockets keep firing off. So here's what he had to say.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him. But he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
President, what do you want to do about
And
that?
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. We'll see what we're going to do. What am I going to tell you? You're the fake news, aren't you? You're totally fake. All right, any other questions? I don't like what Putin is doing, not even a little bit. He's killing people. And something happened to this guy, and I don't like it.
Wow.
Okay.
Those are, some pretty strong words.
Well, so, they released some kind of a statement out of the Kremlin today. They didn't like what he had to say. But, I think people around the world don't like what's happening in terms of the attacks on civilian areas in Ukraine. So here we go. Poll question today. We're getting lots of votes. We're going to check in on the Dave Cam because I know Dave has been looking for people's comments. You can vote with the QR code right now. And then if you hop onto, and you can comment, but we also love to go through the comments on YouTube because so many people watch us on YouTube.
They
anyway,
do.
24% say Putin's not serious. No more talks, just support Ukraine. 20% say get serious with Putin now, hit Russia with extreme sanctions. Time for talking is over. 51% say, look, I hate the violence, but it's not our fight. Time to end U.S. support. And 5% say, look, you got to keep those talks going, even though today it seems kind of bleak. It's the only hope for peace. So we'll keep watching those numbers move around. Celeste, do you feel a Dave Cam about to happen?
I do feel a Dave Cam.
Yeah, there he is, everybody.
The excitement has been building all morning.
Yeah. I got to get one of those clips. See how Dave makes sure he's got the cord clipped right to his shirt so he can't, outrun his headsets. I like that.
So true.
All right, Dave, what are you seeing, buddy?
So we've got several good comments. Two, though, stand out because they're exactly the opposite in terms of their opinion. Patrick from Cave Creek says, when the USSR dissolved, they signed accords that gave the land back to Russia if the newly formed areas couldn't take care of themselves. That land belongs to Russia, and it is not our place to start a war with them over it. But then, Steve Keller says, for those who don't know, it is our fight. The Soviet Union fell apart in the late 1980s. There were nukes all over, but especially in Ukraine. The bigger ones, hydrogen bombs, expire, but the smaller tactical nukes last for centuries. We begged and begged for years, begged Ukraine to give up their nukes. We finally entered into a treaty with Ukraine that requires boots on the ground and planes in the air if they get attacked, in exchange for Ukraine giving up their nukes. We reneged on their treaty out of cowardice when Putin attacked. It is our fight. The rest of the world knows that, but our media downplays our obligation. So great comments, guys. Keep being engaged and keep voting.
Yeah, I mean, we get all kinds of almost philosophical answers sometimes, like that last one.
Very deep, yeah.
We were talking about this on Friday, Dave. Remember? It's like, wow, we have some really deep thinking, intelligent people in with their comments, right?
Yeah, really smart people, really smart viewers. Not only the nicest chat on YouTube, but the smartest chat as well.
We always do try to point that part out.
Yes, we do.
We're nice. This is the one and only, almost guaranteed, as soon as I say
This is the nicest city.
Friendliest chat. That could be tomorrow's poll question. All right, so thank you, Dave, and we'll see. One last real quick. Yeah, not much, really. Now down to 19% with get serious with Putin and hit him with some real sanctions. But we'll watch and grab that QR code whenever you want to. Celeste, I know the video's been out for a few days, but I thought it would be good to just look at it and comment about, get your take on it. There was a lady who took her puppy dog for a ride on her, I think it's like a scooter. I don't think it's like a big Harley
Like
or
a Vespa
anything.
or just like
Here,
a...
I think we got the video. Let's go to it right here. Okay. So like a little trail, that reminds me of like my Honda Trail 70
dirt
or
bike.
90. Yeah. Okay, well, guess what? she's basically getting pulled over here. And you
the
can
baby's
see,
in like a baby or like a
Oh,
pet
yeah,
carrier.
okay.
Like she's strapped in
got
to
the
her
pooch
chest.
all strapped in. Well, so this lady gets a ticket. I believe it was for $300 for taking her pooch for a ride. This was in Australia. And she has to decide now, do you fight City Hall? Or do you say, look, I had the pooch strapped in with me. She loves to go for a ride.
What's
and if
the ticket?
If there's not a specific, ordinance that you can't put dogs on a little tiny motorcycle, I don't know. I would have much rather seen him let her off with a warning.
I think so too.
Right?
I wonder if there's like a rule on or if they were looking at like, pet endangerment or something.
Maybe.
Why pull her over? Maybe they think the dog is going to be a distraction, like distracted driving.
Maybe. We're doing some deep thinking. It's like almost like our viewers commenting on YouTube as we do our deep thinking on this. Yeah, no, I didn't know. I bought this off Temu. I don't know if that's your best argument. In other words, I paid $1.99 for it. Hope it works. Anyway, yeah, I wish he would have just given her a
warning. What a cute dog, though.
Yeah,
look at the dog. Looks happy.
Totally happy. Okay, what do you think about McDonald's? They're finally announcing all McDonald's, maybe with one or two exceptions, you can finally do your midnight runs, or up till midnight. They're going to keep basically all their McDonald's across the country now open until midnight, or maybe later, at least through the summer.
I think it's a great idea.
I do too.
Well, the sun sets later, so I feel like people are hungry later.
Right.
Maybe you're out, with friends, the beach or something, heading home.
Yeah.
I think it's a good deal.
Okay, so they confirmed that most of their locations, this is going to be starting now this summer, and so whether you're craving a McFlurry or their fries or a Big Mac, of those three, which would you crave?
I would go the fries.
Would you?
Yeah, I would go the fries.
I would have to go with the McFlurry. Anyway, all right, so we're going to see how that plays out over the course of the summer, but they're hiring a lot of people, and they're saying they're going to build a lot of new McDonald's. So if you like them, but you feel like, I still got to drive 3 miles, now maybe you're going to have one right down the street.
Yeah, well, I think they don't stay open long enough.
For sure. Okay, break time. Back in 2 minutes.
Oh, shit.
Look at Hawaii. Oh, no. Oh, actually, now I'm wishing that had been on camera. We had Dave out here setting up a chair for one of our beloved co-hosts starting at 11 on YouTube. Tyre Anita.
Anita, one of them will be out here with us.
Syleste and Ron here with you, looking at that great shot from Hilo, Hawaii. Now, of course, it would be a nice day to be in Hawaii. But if you do have the day off and you don't have plans for later today, and you keep saying, you know what, it would be fun to take the kids, or even the grandkids, to a baseball game. The Diamondbacks are back in town, Celeste.
I thought you were going to say maybe later today we can go to Hawaii. That's where I thought you were going with that.
Well, we tried to keep the budget operating at a slightly different level, but check it out. So they really had a rough go of it. By the way, these Sky Fox pictures, I just love them. That would be, or maybe that's drone. Yeah. Anyway, here's the deal. They. Who used to say that all the time? Here's the deal. I'll have to think. It was a former president. Anyway, the D-backs are back in town, and it's an afternoon game starting first pitch right around 5 o'clock. I love looking at those pictures when the roof opens. Now, they are going to give away a special Memorial Day red poppy cap.
It's Joe Biden.
Yeah,
here's the deal.
I know. Okay, to the first 20,000 fans. Anyway. This so bums me out. Every day I go to check the score of a D-backs game, and they lost I believe all of their last 3 games. They got swept in St. Louis by the Cardinals by 1 run. Well, what does that tell you? We can't be giving up a run in the 8th or the 9th inning, right? So our closers had better buckle down. I was going to say bear down, Celeste.
Buckle down is a good one,
is
too.
Buckle down better than saying bear down?
I mean, as a Sun Devil, I think, it's much better.
Anyway, good luck to the D-backs. And we hope that let me just see here. Did I say, is it Pittsburgh? I think it's the Pirates coming to town, yeah. So that should be a game maybe that they can win and, in a way, have a great time if you're going to the ballpark. So this, if this seems like a nightmare scenario.
Yes.
You ever have a dream like this? You're stuck on the tracks. You're in a car. The train's bearing down on you. It seems like something out of a Hitchcock movie, but it was oh so real in New Jersey, and we have the proof. Here comes the video for you. Ready? Watch this. So these officers are rushing up to the scene because the guy is stuck on the tracks, and here come the arm crossings down. Now watch what happens. Look, they pull him out of there.
So is he passed out or something?
Now watch how quickly the train comes in here. Watch this now.
Wow.
Can you believe that? They said, I believe we have a DUI case on our hands, Celeste. No shocker here.
No.
But you know what? Drivers can get drowsy and not be drunk. And I don't know if you've ever driven somewhere where you're like, oh, man, I really have got to get some rest. I'm feeling sleepy. The guy apparently passed out at the very worst location. And I just wonder what would have happened if those officers hadn't gotten there at the exact right moment. Because I think, let's just count it. There you go. Okay, arms down. 2, 3. Poof. That is unbelievable.
I wonder what kind of car he's driving, because how does the car come to a complete stop right there, center of the tracks?
Yeah, I wonder if he had a flat or what was going on. So this is in New Jersey, and he was rescued there. I don't have an actual town or a hometown, but the guy, they said, was not able to get out of the car of his own. But they put their life on the line. And, I mean, their hearts had to be beaten at 150 beats per second there for just a bit. But they pulled it off. And thank you in another community to our officers who do what they can to try to protect people's lives.
Wow.
Was that incredible?
Crazy.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
I mean, have you ever fallen asleep while you're driving? Or, like, felt like you were dozing off?
Yeah, I think I did once.
And somebody woke you up, or what was it?
I was driving home from a late night emceeing thing.
Oh, work-related.
I veered off because I was like a little bit sleepy, and I'm like, I can make it. But I just veered off into the snow. It was a snowy night in Spokane.
Okay.
And I veered off into the snow, and I'm like, well, that was kind of a fluffy landing. And The guy right behind me
Fortunately,
saw it,
yeah.
and he gets out and starts pushing the car, and I'm back on the road in a minute.
Wow, look
But I'm
at
like, it was a
Ron.
warning
The snow
that it can
saved you.
happen to anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're driving in snowy or icy conditions, all it takes is like 1 second, and you're like,
Holy
I'm out in the
cannoli.
median. How about you?
Yes, it happened when I was like 16.
Okay.
I was driving to California
Yeah.
with my friends.
Okay.
And I dozed off, and so did my friend. And then she woke up and was like, "Hey, you're asleep."
Oh, wow.
And I was driving.
Had you drifted off the road?
I just
kind of,
drifted a
or-
teensy bit.
Okay. Yeah.
But it can happen very quickly. And if you're drinking, I can't even imagine.
Oh, like that
guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Falling
Well,
asleep that's nuts.
Yeah. This is why we advise people
Not to drink and
not only
drive.
to not ever drink and drive. You can adopt my philosophy, which is just don't touch the booze.
Yeah, don't touch it at all.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
anyway.
and there's lots of mocktails out there.
There are all kinds of mocktails. And thank goodness, by the way, that we have rumble strips on the freeways now. All you have
Yes.
to do is drift like, 6 inches, and you're like, so I'm in favor of rumble strips.
And by
too.
the way, we know today's Memorial Day. We're remembering the men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Oh yeah,
right.
If you haven't, if you didn't join us right from the top, we spent about the first 10 minutes or so talking exclusively about that. So
Yes.
it's a good reminder.
And we know a lot of you may be barbecuing and doing some of that
Okay,
stuff
yes,
here today.
right, sure.
So we threw this out there and we said potato salad or mac salad, Ron.
Oh,
If
you did?
Yeah.
We have another poll question, not this one, but the other one, the mac salad poll question.
It's like Putin or Trump, or we want to talk about mac salad versus potato salad. But we have a lot of people saying, mac, potato. Somebody actually even threw out the idea of, have you ever had those cotton candy grapes?
Okay.
Have you had those, Ron?
Yeah.
They're delicious. Somebody said they're voting for that.
Okay.
And folks are just talking about they're happy to see you guys making homemade potato chips from Memorial Day, Angela Brockelman says.
Oh, Angela, you're the
Good
best.
morning, Angela.
Hey, since we're talking about food, let's just mention that the new study is out. Beverage Digest has the top 10 sodas in America. Are you ready? Here we go. Diet Coke. Oh, wait. Regular Coke is number one.
Okay.
Which surprises me because it has all that sugar.
Yeah, favorite Coke. I think people don't like the aspartame. It's like if you're going to go with the regular sugar or the aspartame, you're going to go with the regular sugar maybe.
Dr. Pepper's number 2. Sprite is 3. Pepsi is 4. And Diet Coke is 5. And then Mountain Dew. Are you a Mountain Dew fan?
Oh,
Do you like Mountain Dew?
I was a Mountain Dew fan, like when in college when I had to pull all-nighters.
Yeah.
When I was studying and things like that and working the early shift.
Uh-huh.
I hear it has the highest caffeine intake.
I hear that too.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
I
used to
love
be a
the
Mountain Dew.
taste.
Yeah, it's so good.
Now, I'm off the aspartame train.
Okay.
And so I drink this stuff. It's called sparkling ice, but it has there are so many options out there now that don't have aspartame.
Yeah.
Hello, Coca-Cola. Can you hear us? Get rid of the aspartame. And it's not just Coke. It's in a bunch of these things. Go look it up about some of the studies that have been done about aspartame. And someday, who knows, maybe I'll be the next guy once RFKJ leaves office. I'll be the next.
You're going to run Maha? What would
sure.
your slogan be?
Get rid of the aspartame.
GR. I'm trying to think of the acronym.
Celeste, we're going to make everybody happy watching the show. You know why?
Because we're going to Maui.
No, we're going to the Isabella Cam.
Good morning.
Good morning.
She has been responding to so many people. It's been awesome.
Yeah. By the way, we decided we were going to talk about this study that was the Celeste story of the day, which is, can your dog tell when you're stressed out?
Oh, yeah.
Some new research in Scientific America finds that when dog owners stress at work and then they come home,
Yes.
their dog can tell that they are too stressed. So, now do you believe it, Isabella?
I totally agree with that. Every day I came back from school and I was stressed, my dogs totally picked up on it.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I think that's accurate.
And what did she do? Did your dog treat you different, or did she like respond to you in a different way
Yeah,
when
they
she
were
felt?
just extra like cuddly and just didn't leave my side on those days. They could sense I was stressed, so it was
Wow.
very sweet of them.
I think Jack and Gracie do that when I get home.
Can they tell when you're stressed?
Yes.
Have you ever been stressed in this business? Celeste?
Not in this business, but when I'm at home and my kids don't listen to me, the dogs just walk away. They're like, "Oh, we're getting away from her right now."
He doesn't listen to me. I
What's
get
that, Anita?
When I'm at home and Johnny doesn't listen to me, I get stressed, and Shorty definitely can see it.
Really?
He can hear the yelling.
Okay. Yeah. Well, at one time we had cats, and I noticed they really never picked up on my cues. What's
did
up
not
with
care.
that?
I
right?
think they hide from you.
No.
Like they hide from people
No,
in
if-
general.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they, they're under the bed or they're behind the couch.
You know,
or,
the only thing they picked up from me was they looked annoyed that I had, walked in the
Who came home?
house.
Who's in
and
our
then they
house?
just kind of wander away. That was about the most
you
of
hear
it.
You
about-
took their comfy spot. That's why
Oh,
they
maybe
were
that's what it
annoyed.
is. They're like, oh, he likes the best spot.
Well,
on the
I think
couch.
they like their own place,
Yeah.
right? Like there's
Yeah.
that cat cafe. I don't know if it's still open, but it was in Tempe for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And they just, they had it was full of like, first of all, you as human could go and have coffee.
Right.
And then second of all, they had all those cat, like towers where
Yeah.
they could just jump from one to one.
I feel like between all four of us,
Yes.
Ty has the most famous dog in Myrtle.
Myrtle.
Let's find out, Ty, whether Myrtle reads your moods.
No. She could care less.
Really?
Myrtle has her own moods.
Yeah, she's the moody one in
no.
the
What
house.
puts Myrtle in a mood?
Well, how much time do you have, Ron?
About a minute.
No, she's a little. She's still coming out of her shell.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And what's your new dog's name again?
Stuart.
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 Totally different
Totally, yeah.
personality.
He loves everybody.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
For the most
Sometimes
part.
you need like polar
Yeah,
opposites.
they're the
You know what I
yin and yang
mean?
to
Like
each other.
opposites attract. Sometimes you
Sure.
need that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was pretty interesting that survey came out, and I guess we all believe that your dog is man's best friend. You guys, what do you have coming up at 11?
It's Muscle Monday.
Let's see him, Ron.
You guys want? Yeah. Celeste.
There we go.
Oh, Celeste
my
are the
camera?
biggest.
Hold on. Thank you.
Hey!
I don't know
Did
how
you
that
pad that
happened.
shirt? Did you pad that shirt?
That's
Now
a
you gotta do
problem.
like
Renee doesn't want me to do it anymore because she's afraid I'm going to break
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
area.
she's like, we're gonna have to get you some new dress shirts.
The biceps are too big,
Okay,
Hooner.
but anyway, so go ahead.
So it's Muscle Monday, so we have a trainer in, and we're going to talk about protein, creatine,
Yes.
all the different supplements that you
Wow.
might be needing if you want to try and, because it's bathing suit season, Ron.
Okay.
I don't know if you know.
Yes.
Ron already purchased his suit.
You did?
Get a Speedo.
And you know what would be a good question, and maybe for all of you in the chat box, creatine. It'd be good to ask if it tastes, what it tastes like, because I put it in my smoothie, and I swear it changed the taste of my smoothie.
For the worse or for the better?
For the worst.
Okay.
You don't like the taste.
Back in 2 minutes.
Bye.
Have a good day.
All right. Happy Monday. It is Memorial Day, and we're going to just keep things going here at 11 o'clock.
A month ago, we had John, and you were such a hit. We had so many fantastic questions and comments from our viewers that we wanted to make it a regular monthly Muscle Monday. So thank you for coming back.
I'm honored.
All right,
we're
so
really
Laura
excited.
Is here from Burn It, Build It Fitness. You have 2 locations here in the Valley, one in Phoenix, one in Avondale. So let's get into it because we were talking a little bit just kind of in the break about supplements. And this kind of started because the other day I went to Sprouts and I needed new protein. I was kind of overwhelmed by how many different proteins there are. And then looking at the bag, I was trying to compare ingredients. And again, I was overwhelmed because I don't know what I'm looking for. There's whey isolate, milk-based proteins, soy-based proteins, pea protein. I was like, I don't even know where to begin. And that's why I was like, I got to get Laura back. So help us break this down.
Yeah, so when it comes to supplements, I think you can't get so focused on the blade of grass that you forget to see the forest. And you have to
poetic.
think about, right? So you have to think about what is your main goal for having the protein.
Okay.
And what does the rest of your diet look like? And then we can start to dissect of what's the best type of protein for you.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. I know it depends on men and women. How many, is it grams of protein you're supposed to have each day?
Yeah, it's actually doesn't matter men or women.
Oh, really?
It's just a set standard of about 1 gram per pound of body weight.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I was
so
going to say, because I know
obviously-
I don't need as much protein
Definitely
as Ty
not.
does, because
Yeah.
he's a bigger
Yeah,
guy
he's
than
so
I
swole.
am.
Avi.
So we leaned in tone and swole status.
Yeah.
So obviously we're going to have different weights and different demands and things like that. So the average recommendation is about 1 gram per pound.
1 gram per
Yes.
pound. Every day.
Every day. Every
There's
day.
no way.
I know. So then
That's a lot of protein.
it can be. But then you have to look at, okay, well, if you have, if you're a female and you're 250 pounds and your goal is to lose weight, to eat 250 grams of protein, it's never going to happen. It's really, really hard.
You have to reduce it, is what you're saying?
So then you could take it off of what is your goal weight? What is your ideal weight that you want to achieve? So if you're saying, hey, my first goal is to go from 250 to like 200, then we can look at saying, okay, we're going to take it to about 200 grams, and that's our goal weight, so that's what our goal is to eat. And if you're like, man, that's still too much, I don't know if I can get that, then we can look at the lower recommended rate, which is about 0.7 per pound, and that'll take you from about 200 grams to more like 130.
Okay.
So sometimes that's more realistic based off your starting point and what you're looking to achieve.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, there's so much out there about protein, and when you're on,
Without a doubt, yeah.
when you're on social media, you see a lot of people, I don't want to say pushing protein, but recommending if you want to lose weight, eat more
Yeah.
protein. If
Yeah.
you want to do this, eat more protein. And it's not, and I think that maybe the old school way was eat less, eat low fat, eat no fat. But
sure.
I mean, if you have,
But if you look at all the diets out there, what diet does anything with protein? It's always manipulating your fats and your carbohydrates.
they leave your protein.
They leave your protein alone
Yeah.
because
okay.
you have essential amino acids, which means you have to have them. Have you ever heard of an essential carbohydrate?
No.
No, you don't,
But
right?
in my head, they're there.
But
You're
a
like-
baguette with some butter is
Right?
yummy.
That's essential
Yeah.
to my sanity.
Yeah.
So they don't ever really mess with protein much.
Okay.
So and the reason why they push protein if you're trying to lose weight is there's a category that helps you be in a caloric deficit, right? And we're never going to outdo the laws of thermodynamics. It always comes down to energy in, energy out. But if I have, let's say you guys weighed the exact same, right? You're the exact same person. We got twins right here, right? And your goal is
Sometimes
to
that's true.
lose weight. And I put you on 1,800 calories of carbs and fat, and I put you on 1,800 calories of carbs, fat, and a higher protein content, right? She will lose more weight than you will. Because protein takes more energy to break down, so it has a higher thermal effect of food. So therefore, I can give you more food, just change the macronutrients a little bit so you're not as hungry, helps you stay more satiated, which keeps you sane and keeps you from diverging in that binge area. Yeah.
Nick Dinsmore says, eat healthy, cut out crap food, cook at home more. And I do agree. I think when we bring food to work, you're less prone to pick up the cookies and cupcakes that are laying around. And then when I eat at home and I cook at home, I know what I'm putting in the food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm a component of staying sane. So, I believe in meal plans and not diets.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's a social aspect with food. It just can't be, I think sometimes we get kind of, I don't want to say judgmental, but we get really stuck of like, well, just eat at home and just eat better. It's not that difficult. Just do it. And it's emotional. It's cultural. I mean, think about what everyone's planning on doing the rest of today.
Yes.
They're not thinking, wow, I can't wait to get all my vegetables.
Yeah.
They're thinking, oh,
I
barbecues
love
and ribs.
I love
and
vegetables.
You're different. You're an anomaly.
For sure.
Bo Jackson is saying for bodybuilding, top 5 foods.
Ooh.
And then I want to know,
Yeah.
is there a difference between proteins? Because I'll do fish.
Yep.
But like you don't eat red meat, chicken, or fish, so you're relying on the whey. Is
sure.
there a difference with the type of protein that you're getting? Is like a steak protein better than a chicken protein, better than a fish, better than a whey?
Yeah. So
top
pretty
5
much,
foods
no.
first.
So top 5 foods if you're looking to build as much muscle as possible. Number 1, you have to be in a caloric surplus. Otherwise, that's not going to happen. So you got to make sure that you're probably getting in closer, depending on your metabolism, how much muscle you have and experience in the gym.
So break that down. When you say caloric surplus, you
Yep.
mean you
Eat
need to be
more.
taking
Yep.
in
More than you were burning.
Than you're burning.
Do you hear that, Bo? You get to eat a lot.
Yep. So
Lucky you.
where
But what
people
kind
get.
of foods, though?
I like whole foods. I'm always going to be a component of
Okay.
whole foods.
So you're
but
not
I will
saying
say
you
this.
go eat bread?
No, but if you
or
look
pasta.
at, I'm assuming Bo is active in the gym and looking to build muscle.
Okay.
To eat the amount of broccoli to get him in a caloric surplus is not going to happen.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right?
Eat
He
a
will be
steak.
so full and bloated. He's going to get his good protein, so maybe 1.6 grams per pound. And there's even evidence of like 2 grams per pound. And once you set that, then you got to look at try it, right? So you set your protein, get your good carbohydrates, and they're like, this is where guys can like their sweet potatoes and their brown rice and their whole wheat pastas and things like that are great ways to fill in those carbs and give your body a fuel source. And if you're not putting on weight and building, then you got to do more.
Gotcha.
And so to eat the amount of clean foods to be in that caloric surplus is very, very difficult. So this is where they would get their ice cream. This is where they get their little sweet and pastry because they need that high calorie, but their diet's 80% clean. That 20% is your variance.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But like we're talking foods that are high in protein. I mean, lean meats, right?
Lean meats are great. Yep.
What about like?
But wait, like a steak, though, it's a lean protein, but higher in fat.
Yeah.
So someone who, let's say like me, who wants to get leaner, a steak isn't necessarily the right choice of protein for me, or is it?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, the
Okay.
amount of fat that you get in steak is kind of your preference, right?
Yeah.
Because you could choose a fattier cut,
Okay.
or you can choose a leaner cut. You can choose. Some people love the charred fat. That's not necessarily my game.
Yeah.
But some people love that.
Okay.
So it always is going to come down to calories in and calories out.
So that's like a drumstick with chicken
versus
or
a chicken breast. What's your preference?
Okay.
Right. Some people don't like chicken breast because it's bland and it dries out. So as far as like your chicken, your fish, chicken, steak, eggs, all of those are roughly anywhere between 6 to 8 calories, grams of protein, right, per ounce. Whereas fish is going to be closer to 5. So it has a little bit more fat in it, obviously, just because it's a fattier food source, like your tuna and things like that. But pretty essentially, protein qualities are great protein qualities.
I've been eating a lot of Greek yogurt lately too, because that's high
very
in
high in
Yeah.
protein. But you got to be careful you're not getting anything with the extra sugars, right?
Yep.
And,
that's
what
where
about
they
the
get
dairy,
you.
though?
Well, dairy kind of depends on if you have a problem with dairy.
Okay.
If you don't have a problem with dairy,
You're fine.
I know there's the thought of like inflammation. Inflammation's not always bad, right? Your body goes through inflammation every day. You work out, your body's inflamed, right? That's how it filters through the process. When you eat fiber, a byproduct of fiber is gas, right? So does that mean you should never eat fiber? Well, no, fiber's great for you. So I think sometimes we get again focused on the blade of grass and we don't see the whole forest.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Jen Wall said, oh, well, she's talking about juicing. So steroids, a little bit of a different topic, but the one I wanted to read was from Darren Lloyd, just came back from Italy, ate so much and lost weight. I can say the same. When
sure.
we travel in other countries, we walk a lot. I mean,
Ton of walking.
I'm active here, but we walk a lot there too, but it feels like the food is different.
It is different. I mean, partly you don't have a lot of refrigeration. You know, I mean, I've been in Paris, Amsterdam. I played basketball overseas, and the portion sizes are a lot smaller, right?
Yeah.
And you walk everywhere, so you just kind of get what you need for that meal, and you don't really have a bunch of leftovers. So it makes it really easy to just not overeat, and you're on to the next thing, and you're just constantly moving and walking. So there's a activity level. If you look in other places outside the United States, it's very, very different.
We were in Florida visiting my parents in March, and I started that iPhone where you can track your steps. And I kept getting alerts saying, you have more activity than usual. You have more activity.
Higher trend.
We still walk every day here, my husband and I, but I think just the longer walks on the beach.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson says, thank you.
Absolutely.
He can handle that.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Yeah.
We were talking about muscle mass. Can we talk about creatine?
Well, can we talk about going to the store first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so when you're going to the store, help us kind of figure out like what are some of the things that we should be looking at.
Yeah.
And kind of maybe let's start with the very first,
For
which I didn't
protein?
know. Yeah. What's
Yeah.
the difference between whey
We'll
and
break
then
down
a
those
whey
three.
isolate?
There's actually three.
There's
so there's
three.
whey
Okay.
protein concentrate.
Okay.
Which is, so we'll go to like least of most expensive,
Okay.
right? So whey protein concentrate is your least processed. So if you care about a processing foods and you want least processed, whey concentrate is the least processed. But because of that, it has a little bit more milk protein, it has a little bit higher fat content, not much, but it has a little bit. But now you have the dairy qualities. So if you have lactose
with dairy.
issues, that's now going to stir the gut possibly.
Okay.
Then you have whey protein isolate. And what they've done is they've processed it a little bit further. They got rid of some of the milk qualities, added in a digestive enzyme. So it's like more, if whey protein concentrate is like 70% protein, whey protein isolate is more like 90%.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a little bit cleaner, but
Okay.
again, it's more processed.
Gotcha.
But you use a lot of those issues. And then they actually have a whey protein, what is it, a hydrolysid. And that is like top of the line, most expensive.
Oh.
People that are lactose don't have a problem with it. They've pretty much removed all of it. It is the least processed, or is the most processed, but the cleanest protein.
Okay.
So if you
So is
are
that
like
the best?
It
It
depending
depends
on, your
on
goal.
what you need,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you want that fast absorbing as much as possible, it's like that's a great way to go.
Okay.
Now, is it huge studies difference in whey protein isolate? No.
No. Okay.
And then you have like your pea protein,
Yeah.
right, which is essentially plant-based, right? And the problem with plant-based proteins is they miss leucine, which is one of your branched-chain amino acids that is crucial
What is it called?
for muscle. Leucine.
Leucine.
Yep,
Okay.
because again, if you think about like your muscles look more like steak and less like a plant. So clearly, if your goal is to preserve, and I don't even want to say like muscle size, because I think sometimes when we talk about building muscle, we think bigger and smaller.
Yeah.
Where really, when you do your protein, it's about muscle health and longevity, right? And that's the importance of having your protein. Is your skeletal muscle only turns over about 25% of the protein you ingest. So if you are super, super low, before it goes to your muscle, it goes to hair, skin, and nails, digestive system, and hormones. So you're missing all of those benefits if you don't eat adequate protein before
I'm
it is even
stressing
going to
'cause I'm
go
not
to your
eating
right.
protein. Like, gosh,
You're like,
okay.
dang it. So that's
Yeah.
why it's so important. Why we're really finally getting the education where we can really, hey, the
Yeah.
importance of this.
So if let's say that you can't get enough protein in your diet,
Yeah.
is that when like a protein shake comes in to handy?
Absolutely.
Or
I mean,
handy?
if I was to look at you and say, hey, you get this extra, fish or
Yeah.
I know you're vegan, but you get a amount on a steak. A lot of guys are like, oh, absolutely, give
Yeah.
me a ribeye. I'm
Yeah,
super
yeah.
happy. Whereas a lot of my female clients, they're like, I can't chew that much meat.
Yeah.
Like it's just it grosses me out. It's just not my thing. Where do we lay off?
Back. We're back.
We're back.
Hi.
We were just
Sorry.
jibber jabbing
Yeah.
away because we were like so enthralled
Well,
with
it's
what
just
you were
so
saying.
interesting.
Because it is interesting.
Yeah, we have more questions coming in. Darren Lloyd says, I like water, but I want more flavor. What are some more healthy hydration tips besides water? Isabella suggested lemon water. And Darren says, I don't like putting anything in. I started putting frozen fruit in the bottle.
Well, that works too, right?
Yeah. I mean, when I, like with my clients, I count all fluid intake except for alcohol.
Coffee?
Coffee.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And so people will, the next question you get is, well, isn't that a diuretic? So
Yeah.
what's the point? I'm like, well, you're actually drinking it with water. Drinking a
Better than
caffeinated
nothing.
beverage is better than taking a caffeine pill, right? Which is going to dehydrate you because you have a sip of water and then you lose more fluid. But when you're drinking coffee, you're drinking water. It's just caffeinated, right? So you're not actually losing as much. So I count all beverages except for alcohol towards your overall fluid intake. There's nothing that's going to be better than water, right?
And maybe a glass of red wine.
Maybe, yeah.
Look at her.
It's the
She's like,
exception. It's the exception, not the rule,
Wink.
right?
You have to have a treat.
Meal
Yeah.
plans, not diets.
Yeah. Sparkling water has a sweetener and it gives her a headache, says Jen Walls.
A lot of sweeteners do give people headaches.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, that's a very common thing. So you just have to learn
What works,
which
what
sweetener
doesn't.
does work for you and which one doesn't. They're all a
That's
little
what it
different.
sounds like a lot of it is trial and error. Which protein
all
works
about the
for
person.
you? What what's going to give you the best workout? What?
Yeah. So my encouragement with all of this stuff is instead of think of like goals, think standards, right? Because it's easier to achieve like a standard that you can start to build on these healthy habits. If your goal is to lose weight and you all of a sudden you don't achieve that goal, you get really down on yourself and you give up. Where if you say, I'm going to start to improve the standards for each meal, and these are my protein, like my goal is prioritize your protein, get in your fruits and vegetables, and then anything else, I'm good with. Right? And so like I want about, I mean, depending on where you're at with your protein goal, but about a gram per pound. So I say like a big palm of
I
protein.
gotta work
That's
on
a
that.
lot of
Yeah,
protein.
it's hard. 2 fistfuls
But
of
also
vegetables
don't
and then go.
forget, there are a lot of like veggies have protein, so we're
they
probably
kinda
getting more
add
than we
to-
think we are.
yeah,
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, should we talk about creatine?
Yeah, I thought
do
I
it.
saw a study this morning, and I wish I would have taken a screenshot talking about the benefits of creatine now with like brain health. And again, I don't know if it's Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's like you look it up, and all of a sudden it's
Yeah.
like all the
the rave.
information is
Yeah.
coming
Well,
on.
can you start with like what is creatine? Just to because I remember creatine like all
Muscles.
Everybody in
Yeah.
like high school, all the dudes were taking creatine
Yep.
because it made them bigger. But you had to chug a ton of water or something, right? Is
Yeah,
that, like,
so
the
if you
old
think
school
of like the
creatine?
old school way, you had to load it, and you're supposed to take it with like grape juice or
What does
something.
that mean, load it?
Which means you have to take a higher dosage, so that way it saturates your muscles faster. So
Oh.
that way, I mean, when we get into the sticks of creatine, it's the Krebs cycle, which makes biology students cry, right? Because there's a lot of things that are happening in it.
Makes me cry, yeah.
Right, you get a little ATP, but kind of without making anybody cry and with their head spinning, is creatine is the most studied supplement out there.
Really?
There is, yeah. Without a doubt, it is a cheap supplement that everyone can take. Right.
Okay.
So the average person needs anywhere between 5 to 10 grams, and there's a lot of studies that say 10 to 12.
Daily?
Yep, daily.
Wow.
And so think of it like a fish oil. If you just take it once, you don't really see the effects. But if you take it every day and you do about 5 to 10 grams, eventually it'll saturate your muscles, and then it's there to help you.
Okay.
But now we have the ability to study what it does for brain health, and they're starting to find really cool studies that help with brain health. Because again, your brain functions and has all these neurological stimuli, just like your muscles do.
Okay.
And so it's not just only geared towards muscles, but it can go other places too.
So is creatine a supplement or a pill or what?
So they have powders and they have pills.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just Googled it. And it's a compound that comes from 3 amino acids found mostly in your body's muscles as well as the brain. Most people get creatine through seafood and red meat, though at levels far below those found in synthetically made creatine
I mean,
supplements.
in meats, you're probably only looking at about 2 grams. So there's not actually as much as what you think. So that's why they're saying, hey, you have all these great supplements that we can add to, right? So if you add 5 grams now and you eat protein throughout the day, you're getting about 7, which is about exactly what you need.
So most women they want to be leaner, right? Maybe
Yeah.
if they're working out, they don't want to necessarily be bodybuilders,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So, but if you're taking that creatine, do you have to worry about that?
Nope, because creatine is 100% how you train.
Oh.
So it's like you have a lot of sprinters that take it because it's ATP, it's energy for the cells and helps with muscle contraction, which is great for everybody.
Does it help with muscle growth too? So like you could, if you want to.
No. Really?
Nope.
See, my dad used to come home
Yeah.
from the gym and do the creatine shake, and then
Yeah.
my mom would get mad at him, be like, "Your shirts don't fit. Your muscles are too big."
Well, here's the thing. with the creatine, you'd also get some water that it goes into the muscles, right? Because you're storing more carbohydrates. So it's not necessarily that the creatine helps with muscle size, because if that was the case, you'd never see any really skinny guys that struggled putting on weight.
Yeah.
Right.
So it still comes down to your food and how you actually fuel the body.
This is fascinating.
This is.
Continuous energy supply. Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Well, now I need to add creatine. I gotta eat more creatine, drink more creatine, add more protein.
Yeah.
What's the difference? I don't know if you can answer this or not, but those the peptides, the NAD,
Yeah.
that's all super.
It's going to get bigger too. That's my hypothesis.
Well, and,
Yeah.
and I mean, I started researching a lot about that, and the peptides. Some are for weight loss, but then they have peptides for skin, for energy, for workout.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, a peptide, if the difference between a peptide and a protein, and don't quote me on this because I don't have it right in front of me, but I believe a peptide
Here,
is
look it up.
40 or less amino acids, and a protein is 41 or more amino acids. And that's kind of the difference. So your body has all these peptides throughout the system. So like your GLP-1s, those are
Look
peptides.
at you.
Am
You're
I right?
smart.
Oh, look, she got it right.
Dang.
All right, it's a good Monday.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
And so all those proteins are just in the body, right? So actually, if you eat meat is a GLP-1 that helps fight appetite. The only difference is it's not concentrated, so it only lasts till your next meal, right? So what do they do with your Ozempic and your semaglutide? Is they've concentrated it to where now it lasts for a week, right? So that's what they're finding with all these different peptides, and you have a lot of ones like the FDA just approved your BPC 157 and your TB 500,
I was reading
which is
about-
for inflammation of the joints and tendons and ligament health. You know, so there's a lot of cool things that they're starting to find with science. Now, science moves slow for a reason, and it can always change.
Right.
But so I'm, I mean, if the science says differently, let me know, and I'll say I'm wrong. I don't have a problem doing
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Things change all the time.
Yeah.
Pretty
So,
interesting.
But so the
you
new
see so
peptides
much
is
of it.
important.
I think it's going to be a big thing too.
I think it's going to be a big thing
and
too.
I think it'll be easily and readily accessible, and I think the cost will go down.
We'll see. Yeah,
as
we'll see if they patent it.
Yeah, because then I think it'll benefit people.
Without
as
a
well.
doubt,
What
yeah.
are the NAD treatments then? Is that totally different? Because I see a lot of athletes talking about that as well.
Well, you're looking at like mitochondria health, right? Is kind of, and there's a lot of things that's coming about. Like, so your mitochondria is like the powerhouse of the cell.
I remember that from
Yeah.
Remember that
biology.
science? Yeah,
Yeah.
we're on like 7th grade there. You're like powerhouse.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Uh-huh.
And so there's a lot of ways that people are trying to improve that, because if you can improve your mitochondria and you naturally have more energy in your body,
You work out
functioning better,
more.
you feel the energy to get up and move and work out. Now, when they get into the weight loss claims, GLP-1 is a little bit different in what it does. But a lot of the other peptides, it's like if you feel better,
Yeah.
and you feel like moving, and you have more energy and you recover because your knees aren't bothering you and your tendons feel better,
Then you're ready to
what's
go.
helping you lose weight?
Yeah.
Is it that peptide did it, or is it the fact that you feel better, you move better, so therefore you're more active because you're not in pain?
Well, we're getting quite a few
yeah, go
questions
ahead.
here too.
Yeah.
The first one is going to be from Angela. She says, "What do you think about fasting? Because that's kind of been a big thing. People talking about the intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff."
That's a great question.
Yeah,
And
what do
does
you
it
think?
work for every body type?
Yeah, so here's the thing. It still abides by the rules of calories in versus calories out. Okay? So whether you eat in an 8-hour window, a 6-hour window, or a 12-hour window, it still comes into calories in, calories out. It depends on the person, right? So Dr. Stacy Sims out of Australia says that women shouldn't do intermittent fasting just because we function, should not.
Oh.
She is not a fan of intermittent
Okay,
fasting.
okay.
And so, but I look at it, and with the amount of clients I've seen with just my experiences, sometimes you need that rule of I can't eat past 6, because past 6 p.m. is
You're
when
going
you are
in-
grabbing all the things that
Yeah.
you should
Ice
not
cream.
grab.
Food.
Right?
Ice cream.
Yep. So
Yeah.
if you need that rule, who am I to judge? If it works for you and it's something you can do long term, because again, it's about your habits for your life, then I'm all for it. If you're thinking performance based, it's really hard to perform well when you're in a fasting state,
Yeah, it
because your
is.
body just is deficient. So any of my collegiate athletes or pro athletes that I've worked with, any of them that are in a fasting state, they really struggle the second half of the day, because that first workout session, they're good because their body's stored enough from when they ate, the night before. But then when we hit that second workout session, it's worthless, because they can't function.
They're kinda depleted.
They're depleted. They can't give me their best. And so when you're an athlete and you're looking for that 1 to 2% edge, you can't fast.
Yeah.
So, Angela, I think the bottom line is it depends on what your
It
goal
depends
is.
on you
Yeah.
and what your goals are, and if it works for you long term.
Sherry is asking, Sherry Nevada Pup, what do you think of keto / low carb or carnivore way of lifestyle?
Those are great questions. Keto obviously is a higher fat,
So yeah,
low
explain what
carbohydrate.
keto means.
So keto is just it's normal protein, but then the goal is to get a higher fat content. So as we kind of talked about
But
during
like
the break,
healthier fats, like avocados or
Olive
what?
oil.
that's the goal.
Okay.
That's the goal. Now a lot of people will take it into the butter and the bacon, and again, to each their own, right? You can read these any way that you want. But and then they're like, well, it helps with weight loss. And it's like, well, yes, but like we were talking about, for every 1 gram of carb you eat, you store 3 grams of water with that carb. So if all of a sudden you remove all your carbohydrates, you didn't lose weight, you lost water. Right?
But the scale will tell you
But the
different-
scale will tell you. So if
so
you're
it's-
only interested in the
Gotcha.
scale, you're going to get instant wins, right? So I can make a client's weight fluctuate about 14 pounds a week. Easily.
Really?
Without a doubt, just by what
they
foods I
eat.
give them.
Sign
Without
me
a doubt,
up.
male, female.
Wow.
You want to. I mean, think about like all the UFC fighters. They abide by these same rules, right? Because they got to drop weight. Well, they can only drop so much fat.
Yeah.
So
So
what do
they're
they start to
depleting
do?
our
Is they
water.
play with water retention. And how much sodium you get, so that way they make weight and then they start to put it back on. So keto is going to be a higher fat. Carnivore is now just everything is protein.
Yeah.
So again,
Can you ever? This is a
losing
dumb
weight
question.
is losing weight.
Can you eat too much protein? Is
You
there a
can.
point
That's
when
what.
you're like,
That's yeah.
You can.
Tapped out?
It's really hard to, because again, you'll get full and stop before you really get to that point.
Gotcha, okay.
But I
Can it
look
harm
at
you?
well, it depends on your definition of harm.
Yeah.
Diarrhea.
If you have someone that loses 20 pounds, what's better for them? Having too much protein or the loss of 20 pounds? The 20 pounds is going to do more for your metabolic health than anything else, even if you eat crappy food. But I still come down to, can you do it long term? And what I eventually want all. I want good vitamins and minerals because your body needs those. I want good phytochemicals. And then, again, good protein. Get in fruits and vegetables. They are important. Every health study says that they are, right? So and then if you like more carb, eat a little bit more carb. If you like more fat, eat a little bit more fat. But you still got to make sure you get in those good vitamins and minerals.
Well, you've covered diet so well. We've got about a minute. How important is the working out and the weightlifting with all of that said?
we left you with
I
a
know.
minute for that.
I know. And I know it depends on each person.
It depends. But if you look at general recommendation, they want at least 150 minutes a week and 2 days of strength training.
Okay.
So that's about 30 minutes, 7 days a week.
30
That's
minutes,
not too
7
bad.
days a week. We
So
can do
the
that,
strength
right?
training is crucial because that helps us age and thrive later in our years, which helps with falls, which helps with joint health.
Yeah, it
so there's a
does.
lot of benefits to strength training and fueling your body appropriately. So you don't have to do it every day, but if you can get in 2 to 3 days a week of strength training with some walking or whatever you love to do, yoga, Pilates, do it.
Okay, real quick, we've got 20 seconds left. Tell us where you're located and how people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so we have 2 locations. One is in Avondale, right off the freeway off of Dysart and Rancho Santa Fe, and then we got one in Midtown Phoenix, which is right off 7th Street and by Bethany Home.
Probiotics, thumbs up or
Absolutely.
down?
Hold on, we have
Thumbs
10
up.
seconds left.